What's up guys, it is Kristen from Anime Collective back again with another recent reads video. This time around we're going to go over everything I enjoyed from March. Now some of these are new series and some are others that I just got around to reading from my backlog. With that said, let's get into it. Here's all the manga I enjoyed reading in April. So the first new series I picked up is Can't Stop Cursing You. I really loved the look of the front cover. In addition, I thought the synopsis sounded really intriguing, mainly because it involves curses, and anything that involves that type of stuff I'm usually into. In addition, the main character is one I thought I would really connect to, and after reading it, I realized he reminds me of one of my all-time favorite characters, Dazai from Bungo Stray Dogs. They both have this somewhat sadistic personality, and you know, they have those types of personalities where they enjoy things just a little bit too much, and I love those types of characters. And he also enjoys the thrill of a good mystery, and that makes complete sense given that he is an ace detective, albeit a self-proclaimed one. So the main character's name is Sayama, and he goes around solving these mysterious killings that have been carried out by individuals who have made contracts with these things called curses, and it makes for a really interesting and compelling story. The first volume did a great job at keeping me entertained. It has some blood and gore and an edgy main character, which are two things I tend to really enjoy. And because of that, I really wasn't surprised that this one hooked me from the start. The art within it is amazing as well. It has cool character designs, and I really enjoy the overall style. From what I can tell, it seems like each volume is going to involve a new case to solve. And also, I will say there is one little small issue I have, is that the bad guy's time in the spotlight is somewhat short-lived. With that said, I hope in the volumes to come a new larger overarching villain gets introduced that proves to be a greater challenge for Sayama. Another new series I picked up last month is Berserk of Gluttony. Now this one released back in March, but I just got around to picking it up, and I am really glad I did because this is one I really enjoyed. This is a fantasy story about Fate Graphite, and he lives in this world where individuals are born with something called skills. Now some of these skills lead people to be destined towards what they call great things, whereas some are looked down upon by society just because of what they've been born with. Fate happens to be one of those individuals that is looked down upon by others because he has been born with this skill called gluttony, which makes him eternally hungry. Things start to get really interesting in the story though when Fate realizes there's more to this skill than meets the eye. Because of the main character's skill, in my opinion, it really makes this one stand apart in a sea of fantasy stories. I love the artwork in this one, and I find the characters' designs to be really interesting, particularly their outfits and Fate's mask. And there's another character that's introduced throughout the volumes that I find to be really interesting as well, and I really enjoy their banter together. Fate's just really cool, almost like Kirito, but even cooler in my opinion. And because of this, I really can't wait to see the adventures go on and how he grows as a character. This is one I'm going to continue reading and collecting because it's one of the newer debut series that really interests me. I'm excited to see how this one develops in the volumes to come, and I'm really anxious to pick up more volumes. Also, I do want to mention that this manga included a light novel format chapter at the end that I thought was a really cool addition as well. I really think this one was well thought out. I know it released in both a light novel and a manga format, and I'm really happy that I picked this one up. Up next, and potentially the most exciting release I picked up last month, is Shaman King's first omnibus. Now I know there's individual volumes of these that were released by Viz. I personally decided to go with the omnibuses because right now the individual volumes are going for around $700 for the complete set on eBay right now. And that's based off recent sold listings. With that said, I am currently trying to complete Gaunt's, another expensive series. I didn't need to get into that as well just to save some money in my wallet. The first omnibus collects volumes 1 through 3, and from what I've seen, these omnibuses have better print quality and contrast in comparison to the individual volumes. Because of that, that is yet another reason I decided to pick these up instead. I'm so happy I finally got to read Shaman King's manga after all these years. It's one that's nostalgic for sure, but it still holds up to this day. And I know there's a reboot coming soon to the US. With that said, I wanted to catch up on these volumes before that came out, and I'm so happy I did. Yo is a character I really resonate with. How he positively affects others, his kind and empathetic nature, as well as how he respects nature and everyone around him, is just something that makes him a really inspirational and relatable character that I can't help but love. Yo is great, of course, but there are so many characters from this series I love, and it's been fun experiencing the manga. The next one I got into collecting and reading last month is I Am a Hero, and I know I am late to this one, and I am really sad I am because these omnibuses are getting increasingly harder and harder to find. So far, I've been lucky enough to find volumes 1 through 5 on places like Amazon, Right Stuf, Barnes & Noble before they started going out of stock or no longer available. I also was able to pick up volume 11, which is a harder one to find at one of my local comic book shops. So if you guys are in search of these omnibuses, make sure you check your local comic book shops. It's always great to support them during these times, and you might be surprised what you find there. So currently I've read up through volume 5. With that said, I can't attest to how amazing the series is as a whole. I will make sure to do that video later. With that said, I'm enjoying it so far because it's one that really feels like a real life story. Because of that, it gives me chills more so than most. You have this everyday guy named Hideo struggling to make it in everyday life at first, and then the zombie apocalypse hits. It's one I'm really glad I got into, and while it's not necessarily new, maybe for Western audiences with outings like The Walking Dead, for a zombie manga story, this one is really unique because its realistic approach. I also really like the art in this one. Everything from the backgrounds to the character designs as well as the zombie designs are extremely detailed and really well done. There's a lot of madness going on in this one, and I am here for it, and I can't wait to see how this one develops in the chapters to come. Also, guys, I saw there was a live action of this one. I have yet to personally check it out. I want to know what you guys think, so let me know what you think of the live action in the comments below, and if you think I should give it a shot. Alright guys, this is the last and final one I got into last month, and is one from my backlog that I've been meaning to read, and I finally read volumes 1 through 3. It is Gigant by Hiroya Oku. So this one is one that I picked up because I already have enjoyed a lot of Hiroya Oku's previous works, such as Gantz and Inuyashiki. I do want to start by saying that there is a lot of nudity and sexual content and violence within this series, so if that's not something you're into, this may not be one for you. With that said, as someone who is a fan of his previous works, this is something I have grown used to. It doesn't bother me, but I do just want to note that for those of you who may be concerned about that. With that said, the first few chapters left me feeling a little bit iffy as to whether or not I would enjoy this story, just because it focused mainly on Chiyo, our main character, who's also an adult film actress, and her relationship with our other main character, Rei, who's an aspiring director, a high school student, and her biggest fan. But this is a story by Hiroya Oku, and because of that, I know there's more on the way, and that with every chapter that comes, this one is only going to get better. He's slow building and setting the stage up for something, and that something involves ETE, aka Enjoy the End, which is a website where users go to vote on a poll, and somehow whatever wins on that poll mysteriously happens. Once it got to that point and the sci-fi elements started kicking in, I just couldn't stop reading. As far as characters go, I really like Chiyo. There is a lot more to her than meets the eye. She's really kind, and she also has a really cute corgi named Mochi, who is absolutely adorable. And then there's Rei, who has yet to fully grow on me. It's not that I dislike him, he's just not at the forefront. I really think Chiyo is the star here. She is the heroine. Her relationship with Rei is definitely part of this story, but it's not the entire story here. And there's more to this one than I initially thought, so you really have to stick with it. At first I was unsure about this one, but I always love to give new series I try a proper chance, and I'm glad I stuck around for this one, because as I started getting into the chapters, not only did I really enjoy it, but it made a gigantic impact. As always, I enjoy his art, and it's no exception in this one. It's full of detail, it's realistic, and it has a great style. I'll have to see how this one develops, but it keeps me reading, and that is more important than anything. If you guys have checked this one out, let me know what you think of Gigant in the comments below. Before I sign off, I do want to let you guys know that I was also going to pick up Die Dark. That is one of my most anticipated manga releases of the entire year. With that said, I went to my local Barnes & Noble and I wasn't able to pick it up. I'm not sure if it got pushed back, but I will have that one for you guys most likely on my next recent reads. Also, stay tuned because in my next video, I'm going to be reviewing the Tokyo Ghoul Monster editions for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like because it really helps support the channel, and if you have checked out any of the manga I mentioned on this list, let me know your thoughts on them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.